Welcome to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit.
That's just a straight shooter with upper management written all over him.
And today, it's Thrive Thursday.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out? What? Do what?
Now, get ready because we're giving you the unique insight to help you thrive in a competitive market.
Join us or die.
And now, the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit on ESPN Radio 1700.
It's down to sound the radio.
Welcome. You are the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. This is Ron Greenwald hosting today's show, the July 4th Eve show for Thrive Thursday. And first of all, I certainly want to wish everyone a safe and sane July 4th. I hope you're having fun with family, friends, whomever, and just really be safe out there and have a great time. And we welcome you to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. We have a great show lined up for you today. We hopefully will have a special guest in the second segment of the hour, somebody who, well, I won't give it away. You'll have to stay tuned and listen to find out who it is. Otherwise, you know, why listen? And we also in studio, we have Bruce McPherson with Security One Lending. Bruce is a veteran of home equity conversion mortgages and a phenomenal person to get to know if you are considering or you know someone who wants to stay in their home and is over 62 years of age. A home equity conversion mortgage is somewhat known as a reverse mortgage.
It's the federally created, federally insured reverse mortgage program.
So welcome, Bruce, to the show.
Thank you.
Have any fantastic plans for tomorrow?
No, just taking it easy.
Okay, gonna go see fireworks or
maybe, yeah. My wife and I haven't really decided. We just want, it's been a busy week. We just want to relax.
Lay low.
Yeah.
Sleep. Yeah. 3 days sleep-in weekend is always a good idea.
Sounds pretty good.
Well, welcome. One of the things that Bruce and I are very passionate about is our working with our seniors, and most of the people in the audience may have a parent or grandparent that is considering what to do. Can they stay in their home? Should they stay in their home? Or should they consider selling it and downsizing or moving to one of the senior communities in San Diego? So we really are all about education and the idea of what we call senior stay or go. And if you get on my Twitter handle or feed or whatever you call it, it's hashtag senior stay or go. And Bruce, I understand you have some good announcements about the reverse mortgage industry, so please share those with us.
I sure do. Thanks, Ron. So the federal government, they created this program. They write all the rules. They tell us exactly how much money we can lend, et cetera. And they're doing something that's very positive. They're increasing the amount of money that a new reverse mortgage will provide for people who are around age 68 or older. So you only have to be 62 or older to qualify, but starting in just a few weeks, it'll provide even more money if you're age 68 or older. So if you currently have a reverse mortgage and have been thinking about refinancing to increase the size of your reverse mortgage credit line or increase the size of the monthly payments you receive, et cetera, it's a good idea to give me a call and look into it.
Give us that phone number because we are...
Sure. You can call my cell phone, 619-517-1642. You can even call me over the weekend because I'm just going to be relaxing. I'm not going anywhere. I love helping people. I really
He
don't
really
mind
is an educator first. Then that's what's important because it's not for everybody. And so to clarify what it is if you own a home and you're over the age of 62, and let's say it's worth $500,000, about $250,000 could be available to you for whatever purposes you want. It may be for future health care needs. It may be for remodeling the home so it's safe while you're still living there. So it's not for everybody. You have to really get the family in. You got to hopefully you have an estate planning attorney and you've got all those and a financial advisor all looking at it. What's the best option for you, for your mom and dad, for grandma and grandpa, and some of the younger listeners for great-grandma and grandpa.
Right.
What is the best option for them, for their quality of life? It's not about you, the son, the daughter, the grandchildren. It's about it's about grandma and grandpa.
Right.
So
it's
what
about
else?
their quality of life. And it really is an important decision as far as whether you're going to stay in the home the rest of your retirement or whether you're going to downsize and move. And it makes sense to sit down with specialists like Ron, like you, like me, a financial advisor, an estate planning attorney, and get all the facts before you make a decision. And the facts about reverse mortgages tend to be much more positive than what people think they are, but they're still not the right fit for everyone. So it's important to sit down and discuss your own situation with a specialist. The other bit of news is at the same time that the government is changing the formula to make it more generous for people who are around 68 or older, they're also making the formula even more sensitive to long-term interest rates. One of the things that a lot of people don't know about reverse mortgages is that the higher the long-term interest rates are at the time that you apply for your reverse mortgage, the less money you can get. So right now, long-term rates are very low, so people applying right now are getting the most money possible, the biggest percentage of their home value possible. But now they've made it even more sensitive to long-term rates, things like the 10-year Treasury rate or the 10-year LIBOR rate. Here's an example. Right now, if you're age 62, you could qualify to receive, let's say, to make it an exact example, let's say you wanted to establish a reverse mortgage line of credit. Even if you don't need the money, you just want to get this line of credit for someday because the line of credit actually grows for you, which is an amazing feature. Right now, you could qualify if you're age 62 and exactly age 62, based on current long-term rates, you could get a line of credit that's about 51% of your home's value, up to a home value cap of $625,000. But if, let's say you wait a year, and in that time, long-term rates rise just 1%, and then you finally apply for your reverse mortgage then. The fact that if rates have risen 1%, you will only qualify for a credit line of only 39%, even though you're a year older, which is supposed to help, but higher rates have a much bigger impact than a higher rate. 39%, whereas if you did it today, you could get about 51%.
And again, for those that are under the age of, I'm trying to think of what would be a good cutoff date, 45 to 50, I guess, because I'm 58, and when I went to buy my first home in 1982, and again, if you're driving, just be careful because this is going to shock you. Mortgage rates were around 16 to 18% was your mortgage rate. Now, again, property values were less than they were today, I grant you, but 18%. Mm-hmm. And I was earning in my money market account. I had a money market account earning 14%.
It's amazing.
So it is cyclical. It can happen again, and certainly there's a lot of people that forecast, because we are spending more money than we take in, mm-hmm. that could happen again. So this may be the time to sit down with your advisors and explore these options.
Absolutely. We're talking about rates. Another thing I forgot to mention is we now have another option that you can choose. There's a lot of options when you're setting up a reverse mortgage, and there's a new one where you can, in exchange for a slightly higher variable rate, you can have a much lower lifetime cap on that rate. The lifetime cap used to always be 10 percentage points above the start rate. Right now you could get a rate of about 2.4%, for example. So the lifetime cap would be 12.4%. That's not a great cap, but now there's an option where in exchange for having a rate that's only about maybe 2.7%, you could have a lifetime cap that's only 5 percentage points higher. So say 7.7%. That's really nice to have.
And if you have gotten a mortgage, let's say you bought a home and you went out and got a forward mortgage, not a reverse mortgage, but a regular, quote, regular mortgage, if you want to use that term. There are so many moving parts. It's how, people can quote you any rate they want to. It's all what you're going to pay for that interest rate on a mortgage. So there's a lot, just like anything else, how you structure the reverse mortgage or the forward mortgage or any financing, how you structure it will pay dividends in the long run. So you really need someone, not maybe some of those people that are doing blitzes on television.
Right. Some guy in a call center.
Yeah,
sit down with a professional.
Right. And he'll, like the Excel spreadsheet, go, here's option A, B, C, or D. Mm-hmm. What fits best for you the consumer, the user of the reverse mortgage, not what's best for the person providing you the reverse mortgage. And that's so important. And I think you're having a seminar coming up. Tell us about that.
Yes, I am. It's coming up on, Wednesday, what's the date here? Wednesday, July 23rd. This is for realtors, financial planners, financial advisors, estate planning attorneys, bankers, loan officers, anybody who works with seniors or anybody who's over 62 to educate you about the program. So just give me a call. Again, I'll give you my toll-free number. It's 866-223-7174. That's 866-223-7174, and I'll reserve a seat for you. I did one of these a couple months ago. It was very well received. People learn a lot at these seminars.
And what's also to know is, again, and if you want, let's say you're living here in San Diego and you just got married and you're having young children, and grandma and grandpa live in Minnesota or somewhere it's maybe colder than here in San Diego, and you would love them to come out and be your babysitters for your children, you can use a reverse mortgage for a purchase.
That's right.
So if mom and dad live in Minnesota or someplace in the Midwest, and you always wanted to get them here to California, and they sell the farm, so to speak. I'm picking on Minnesota. I have no idea why, because I usually pick on Illinois, but I'm picking on Minnesota today because it's cold up there in the winter. They can sell the family farm and use some of those proceeds as a down payment on a home here in San Diego, and never have to make a payment while they're living at the home.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we even pointed out yet that the whole biggest benefit of a reverse mortgage is you never, ever have to make monthly payments, ever, as long as you're alive and living there. The interest simply accrues on the loan balance and comes due someday when you're gone.
Right.
So it's really only appropriate for you if you're planning to stay there the rest of your time.
Right.
Except in some unique situations, it could fit other people. But so a lot of people think that you're just trading in your home, and that's not true. It's just a debt that'll come due someday when you're gone. So you can buy a home. You can make payments if you want. It's optional, but the whole idea is to not have to make payments.
So again, as I've always said, and I say it over and over again, and my dear good friend of mine, Paul Greenwood, uses this in his presentations: spend kids' inheritance, SKI, go on a ski vacation, and use that money to buy yourself a home, and then you don't have to make a payment while you're living at the home, and it's called an SKI, spend kids' inheritance.
And in the meantime, your kids are not having to support you. That's the trade-off.
Right.
They won't inherit as much equity as they otherwise would. There might not even be any equity left, but they can never be stuck inheriting a debt instead of inheriting equity. It's guaranteed.
So I hope you live to 108 or 109, and by the time you have passed this earth, that you owe a lot of money.
Right? Yeah. Then you win.
Then you win. Yeah. It's like
you win either way. But
like everything else, it's somewhat a game.
Yep.
So I do invite you to stay tuned for the second segment of the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. We have a very special guest calling in. He played for a team here locally, and I want you to meet him. He's a fabulous individual, and he knows somebody that we lost recently, and I want him to share some of those stories of somebody very dear and near to us. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today, it's Thrive Thursday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. This is Ron Greenwald hosting the show today, and I believe he's on the phone. Is that right? I'm going to do an introduction. This is a gentleman that I met about 3 years ago, and for some reason, we just, it's one of those people you just click with, and he's just a young, fabulous young man, hardworking, energetic, and I love his passion. And I come to find out through different channels that he is now the director of baseball operations for the San Diego Aztecs, and I congratulate him on that. Well-deserved, hardworking guy. He played for the Aztecs. He played baseball for the Aztecs and graduated in 2008. He is married to Kelly and has 2 children, and I love these children. Dude, I love your names of your kids. Beckham is 5 and Boston is 1. So you know where he's pulling these names from. And he's just a fabulous young man. I invited him to come on the show today and talk a little bit about what he's doing and also hopefully share some stories so that we do keep the legend of Tony Gwynn, who is a phenomenal individual. I want to keep that memory alive. I want to hear stories about him to share with the rest of the world. Landon, are you there?
I am here, Ron. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you guys bringing me on.
Oh, that's fantastic. This is Landon Burt, the Director of Baseball Operations for the San Diego Aztecs. Landon, tell us a little bit about when did this happen, and tell us what you're doing.
Well, you kind of covered a lot of it, really, in the short span. Really played for Coach Gwynn. Actually, my first coach was Jim Dietz here. For my first 2 years, Coach Gwynn retired and from the San Diego Padres and came over and joined the staff here at San Diego State, the team, in 2002. So I really played for Coach Dietz for 2 years, but with Coach Gwynn for the 3 years I was here. He was, that first year, it was a volunteer assistant baseball coach and named head coach in waiting. So, playing for Coach and then obviously just kind of maintaining that relationship throughout the years really transformed not only my relationship with him, but a lot of my relationship with a lot of people that he allowed me to share with and be a part of. So I'm very, very grateful and thankful. And I think really from my passion for baseball and kids and teaching the game, Coach was, Coach Gwynn, as I call him, I think he saw that passion in me because he had the same one. And, I love to teach and give back to the kids because ultimately the kids that are going to keep moving forward in not only their professional careers and into the world once they graduate here in college, but in the game of baseball. If you could do something and give back, I think that's awesome.
Well, that's fantastic, Landon, and I'm just thrilled to hear about this. So give me Director of Baseball Operations. What is your role going to be up on the Mesa?
Well, it's funny because this last year was it was really hard. Coach was pretty sick. So we all, everybody on the coaching staff, we wore like 15 different hats altogether. So, the Director of Baseball Operations, I really essentially come in. Yes, I have more of a playing background, but my role this year was to just really help out and assist in anything that they needed from community service down all the way to before a game starts, and that entails a lot, adding in recruits, just different stuff that we do here at the just trying to be that middleman to kind of get stuff done to where the coaches can really focus in on the coaching, and I can help them, not have to worry about the stuff off the field so much. But really what happened is I was on the field coaching because that's, with Coach being out and taking his leave of absence, I essentially became an assistant coach, which was great too. So, and I was very thankful for Coach Gwynn, allowing me to step in and fill his shoes. And I think that was more of me just being an extension of him and what he tries to do. So this coming year, we're all kind of in this transition mode, obviously with Coach passing, which has been extremely, extremely hard. Especially, a lot of us have been so close to him and his family, and it's different. I'm actually over here at San Diego State right now, and I'm looking at some different signs with his name on them. It's different being here when he's not around, and not being able to call him and talk with him and hear his laugh and tell him stories about your kids or family or whatever it is. It's definitely going to be a different type of transition.
Landon, I was at the memorial last Thursday at the park, and again, I didn't know him personally like you did. I can't even. And I still tear up. I just every time I think about him. He was such an instrumental part of, because I have 3 kids, and my oldest is almost 29, and he took it, and he did not know Tony personally, but he took it very hard because Tony, he's as you know, a sports nut, and lives and breathes baseball like a lot of people do here in San Diego. Right. And he said, "Dad, this is who I hang on. This was my guy." Yeah. And so we went to the memorial last week, and I'm so glad we did. And it's just besides the baseball part, just every facet of his life and what he did for people, I just want to keep it going. And I would love you to, if you have a favorite story that we can laugh about, that would be great.
Sure. Gosh, I'll try to think about one here. But and what you brought up too, Ron, is getting to know Coach pretty well over the last 13, 14 years or so. when you're around like the Hall of Fame baseball player, one of the best baseball players that ever played the game, and when you get to know somebody like that more on a personal basis, you kind of forget about his playing side, and then you just get to know him as your mentor, or coach, or friend, like a father figure for me. And so when he passed, then you really see, wow, what this guy meant so much to so many people out there. And like you were saying about your son, Coach impacted so many lives. And I was joking around last week, and I was like, he personally diluted the worth of his own signature because he signed for everybody. And what was great about being around coaches, little kids would come up to the dugout, or if we'd be on the road, or maybe we're sitting in a restaurant, and they'd come up and say, "Hey, Coach Gwynn, can I have your autograph?" And he'd be like, "No, you can't." and so it freaks the kid out, right? And what he was waiting for is, "Hey, Mr. Gwynn, can I please have your autograph?" So I know there's, and the other thing too, before I move on, is he would call the dad over, the kid's dad, be like, "Hey, I just want to make sure, I want to sign for your kid, but I want to make sure all the kids are asking properly. Please and thank you. That's how I grew up, and that's how these kids need to be raised." And so he would give people, crap all the time for that. But I guarantee you, like your son probably, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of kids that are now adults that are saying please and thank you because of how Coach Gwynn was, and maybe because they learned a life lesson from him.
Yeah, there are a lot of stories like that out there, especially on through the social media outlets. I've seen quite a few where they posted pictures of when they were like 8 or 9, and they have a picture of Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
And now they're in their 20s and 30s, and what that meant to them and the inspiration that he provided. I just find it, again, when we're going through our day-to-day lives, it's just okay. Yeah, Tony, great guy. We all know Tony. But now it's just, gosh, we miss him.
Yeah, no, and it's tough. It's being so close to him. Even my 2 little boys, my 5-year-old, Beckham will still ask questions, and what he usually says is, when he tells his little friends is, "Hey, I know Coach Gwynn, but did you know that he was better than Babe Ruth?" so he doesn't quite understand how. I mean, you know what I mean? It's pretty funny, but
yeah.
And quick story with Coach too is he taught me, and he taught so many other people, to learn to laugh at yourself. I could tell the worst joke ever, created, or something that I thought was funny, and I'd laugh at it because I thought it was funny at that given time. And he would laugh at me so hard because you can't laugh at your own stuff. And I'm like, "Coach, you're the one who taught me how to do that, because you do the same thing."
Yeah.
So, he was always about having a good time. He's got a saying that we kind of go by here at San Diego State is, you can't live on with what you did yesterday. You got to improve yourself every day. And that's how he worked at everything that he did. Is he loved to work, and I think that's what made him such a great baseball player and such a great person, is because he always preached, do it the right way.
Yeah, that's.
And I think they touched on that in the tribute last week. Is you do it the right way, you're gonna have a much better of a fighting chance to be successful, not only in your life currently, but in the future.
And if that word wasn't said hard, that word had to be said 50 times at the memorial. Hard work, dedication, but doing it with a smile on your face and enjoying it. And they said, we think Tony enjoyed practice more than the game.
Yeah, no, he did, and that's the truth. And if you ever get a chance to talk with a lot of our current and former baseball players here at San Diego State, is I remember when I was my sophomore year, I grew up watching Tony Gwynn. I grew up trying to get his autograph and sneaking down into the first base, trying to get down to the first base dugout to get an autograph on a baseball, whatever. And then now he comes in my sophomore year, and you're sitting there, you're like, I just watched this guy play last year at Qualcomm Stadium. This is Tony Gwynn, and now he's my coach. And so from there, it just kind of translated, okay, guys, we're all going down the batting cage, and he would sit with us for 4 or 5 hours, and all he would do is hit baseballs off the tee. And he wanted to, for Coach, what helped him out a lot in his career is he really tried to focus on the positives. Taking the exact same swing the correct way over and over and over. And that's how he approached life, is that why look at the negatives so much? That, even though he knew that we can learn from our failures, but he also wanted you to learn from your successes, because he wanted you to feel good and feel that positiveness going, and he wanted you to continue what you were doing, in a positive and to be successful way.
Yeah, I think what happened, in Philadelphia with the Philadelphia Phillies, when Junior got up to pinch hit, and they had a
Yeah.
60. Now this is Philadelphia fans, get you.
Right.
I mean, they can be rough, and they did
Yeah.
a 60-second ovation to Tony Gwynn Jr. in appreciation of Tony Gwynn. What more can you say?
It's pretty special. I mean, that knowing Anthony and knowing him for a long time, that's a special thing. Not only respect for his dad, and they knew what Coach meant around the game of baseball, and they knew that this young man, number 19, as Anthony's wearing his dad's jersey this year, to just kind of just have his dad on he's wearing his dad on his sleeves.
Right. Yeah.
He's had a different number, throughout his career, but this year he went to his 19 because he knew how sick his dad was, and he just wanted to honor him. And for those fans to do that, I mean, that's incredible. It's pretty, like you said, those fans can be pretty tough on people, and for them to realize that what was at stake at that moment was pretty special.
Well, that's fantastic. And how are you doing? How's the family? Give me a little update on you and the family before we have to sign off for the commercial break.
Yeah, everybody's doing great. My 5-year-old's getting bigger. My Beckham he's 5, and Boston just turned 2. So my wife's got a lot on her plate. Hanging out with those little guys, but she does an amazing job with them. And so we try to bring them over here to the field as much as possible. And us just getting out of the baseball season about a month ago. We're able to spend some more time with the little guys a little bit throughout the summer, but you kind of get back on that trail of winning a national championship too. So family's huge because I'm nobody without my wife and kids.
Oh,
I mean I know that back home my wife has it on lockdown, and I'm the one that comes in and disrupts everything that she sets in place because I'm gone so much.
Well, I hear a lot of Tony Gwynn in you, and we and seriously, you were somebody when I met you. I said, no, you're somebody a little different. I had no idea at that time of your relationship with Tony and things like that. So I can obviously see where that came from, and I congratulate you on your success and much continued success. And are they going to have a tribute at the Tony Gwynn Stadium? Or are they doing anything up on the Mesa that you know of?
We obviously we had the private service 2 weekends ago for Coach right before the week. I guess it was the Thursday or the Saturday before the tribute at Petco. But I'm sure as we inch closer, they're going to be doing some pretty cool. They'll put together some pretty sweet plans that I'm sure we will kind of display as the school year starts here in August and into our incoming season coming in. Because Coach, it's a people are struggling around here. He meant so much to so many people, and it's tough. It's hard to even talk about him. And for me, not being able to call him and just hear his laugh or him, I've saved like 40 voicemails from him just because I felt like throughout the course of the year I wanted to have something to remember him on. And
that's special.
Yeah, there'll be some. I'm sure there's going to be some really cool things that we'll implement here into the program, and with Coach involved because he meant so much to this university.
Well, one of the great moments was when Ted Leitner played his phone. He played his voicemail laugh on the event, the memorial event.
Oh, did he? Uh-huh.
And that was a special moment because we were all sitting there going, "Oh, he's here. He's in the stadium." Yeah. And It was a very odd. Just before the whole thing started, the fog. I mean, this is true. The fog rolled in, and just before the fog broke and the sun. I mean, I know it's woo type of moment, but
yeah,
the fog broke. The sun shined right down onto the playing field right before the event started, and I think most people did take notice of that, and it was a very special moment. So, and we would love to have you back and in the studio to talk more about it, and because I think talking is healing, and I can certainly feel that a lot of people need to chat some more about it because it's just been such a devastating loss, and 54 years old, and again we're going to talk the second half of this hour about planning, and because you just never know. So Landon, get your estate plan in order.
You're right. No, you're right. You never know, when it's your time. Only God knows that, and we can just kind of keep moving forward and preparing the best we can. And I think we can learn a lot from Coach Gwynn and the way he handled things throughout his life to reflect on.
Well, just give everybody a hug up there for us here at ESPN, and we thank you so much for coming on, and we hope it won't be the last time. We hope we can get you back on in the very near future, and I thank you a lot. Have a fantastic 4th. Hug all the family, and we'll talk real soon.
Thank you, Ron, for having me on. Hey, and it's been a privilege and a pleasure to get to know you as well.
Thank you.
So,
thank you. Bless you guys.
Thank you,
All
guys.
right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. You're listening to Ron Greenwald, your host today on, what are we, July 3rd Eve, or July 4th Eve. And I want to shout out to thank you, Landon, Burt, for calling in and telling us some stories and your relationship. And obviously we could tell the emotions with you and what's going up on the Mesa with the rest of the folks up at the Aztecs. And we wish them all the best, and just keep talking about it and laughing about the stories, because that's what Tony was all about, was having a good time and laughing and playing phenomenal baseball and working super hard to be the best in his field. So we are here with Bruce McPherson, who adds Security One lending and is specialist and an educator in reverse mortgages. But before we get back to that, I want to read something to you, and I hope you can tell me what it is, because if you cannot, then we have other issues. But let me start. So bear with me. I won't read the whole thing, but I do want to read a few lines of this, and then please kind of think about what this represents. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What is that from?
Declaration of Independence.
Thank you. The Declaration of Independence, which we will celebrate tomorrow. I will continue one more. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, and now, again, we're writing this in 1776, among men, deriving their just powers from consent of the governed. I'll stop there, end quote. Not the other way around.
Exactly.
So,
government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
And that was Abraham Lincoln, for those that don't know that. So if you go and Google it, please do, download the Declaration of Independence, the unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America, and read about what they were protesting back in those days against the King of England. And one of the protests, and I just happened to pull this one, I mean, there's several of them, I just thought it'd be interesting to read. One of the protests is for imposing taxes on us without our consent. Gee, where have I heard that before?
That sounds familiar.
There's my political rant for July 3rd going into July 4th. So tell us a little bit about what's happening. You have a workshop coming up on reverse mortgages.
That's right. I've got a workshop coming up for, it's on July 23rd, Wednesday, July 23rd. It's a 90-minute workshop. This is to educate realtors, financial advisors, attorneys, loan officers, bankers, anybody who would like to be better informed about this amazing financial tool that is so misunderstood, that can really help their clients who are age 62 or older. One of the things will learn is that reverse mortgages are not just for people who need money. They're for, in fact, the vast majority of people who will be getting them in the future, as the word spreads, will actually be people who don't currently need money but would like to create a more secure financial future through one of the options available through this program. And also, most realtors, as you know, probably only about 5 or 10% of realtors so far have heard that you can actually buy a home by getting a reverse mortgage on that home as you're buying it. So the money,
if you're 62,
if you're 62 or older, so that the money goes to the seller at the close of escrow, just like it's a regular purchase loan that you never have to make payments on. So those are a couple of the things that people will learn. It's a great seminar.
Now, can that financial planner bring their client?
This one really isn't for clients, but they could.
Okay.
Some of it might be over the client's head because we do get into some sort of details that only a financial planner or a professional might understand. But they can certainly bring a client.
Okay.
And the number to call to reserve a seat is 866. This is a toll-free number, 866-223-7174.
Let's give that again, because everybody's driving and they're texting at the same time, trying to write and drive at the same time.
Yep. Toll free, 866-223-7174. That's my direct toll-free number.
And email, do you want to give out?
Sure. It's bruce.mcpherson, that's MCPHERSON, at S1L. S1L.com.
S1L.
Yeah, the letter S, the number 1, and the letter L.com for Security One Lending.
And you've said you were interviewing some clients for a reverse mortgage. I mean,
yeah, I've got some. I've got a lot of clients who are. The most exciting story actually to tell is just recently provided a reverse mortgage line of credit, which is one of the options that's growing in popularity, to somebody. He's a financial advisor, and he and his wife are both age 62, and they realize, even though they have tons of money, they realize the benefits of establishing a line of credit that grows and grows over time. This is the way the government designed it. Can never be frozen or taken away or arbitrarily reduced, no matter what. And it keeps growing for you, even if home values go down, and you never have to make payments. Payments are optional. They realize, wow, what a great financial planning tool. And so this is an example of how valid these financial planning strategies are that take advantage of this amazing government program.
It's really something that you need to at least inquire about. And again, if you are dealing with mom and dad and you're not sure, it's like, what to do with mom and dads. I mean, we all have those stories. Our grandparents, do they stay in, seniors stay or go? The idea, do they stay in their home? Do they move? Do they downsize? Do they move in with you? And that's usually not the intergenerational idea is always usually not the first choice. Mm-hmm. And most people want their independence. Mom and dad want to stay independent. Well, the reverse mortgage is something to explore, to maybe that's the way to allow them to stay in their home for the rest of their lives and do that way. So we have to take a brief timeout. We have to cut this segment short, but stay tuned with the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. We'll talk more about what's going on in the financial world, some July 4th stories, and what your plans are. Take care. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Your Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. This is Ron Greenwald sitting in today on the July 4th Eve. And again, I hope everybody has plans to see fireworks tomorrow in a safe and sane way. And is tomorrow the marshmallow event or the non-marshmallow event in Ocean Beach?
I hope they do away with that. I've seen the footage. It just seems so annoying for the residents there. All these marshmallows being thrown around, and the next day it's a mess. People are.
I personally am all for it.
Yeah.
Because I live in Scripps Ranch area, and I used to live in the beach area, and we take our dog down to the beach area, and you look at the signs. Now, I understand. I'm not one way or the other.
Yeah.
No biking, no drinking, no dogs, no fun. It's all no. I'm just tired of the word no. I mean, I understand what happened in PB. I understand all that, and I, again, get it. But really, there's just too many no's.
They should allow dogs more places. My wife and I have 2 dogs.
There you go.
Everybody's happier when a dog is around.
Exactly.
Who doesn't like dogs?
Exactly. As long as you pick up the
poop
afterwards. I mean, come on, people. Let's let the little furry creature on. You're telling me that some snot-nosed little kid who poops in his diaper is cleaner than a dog who, I mean, come on. Let's get
pretty soon they'll have a sign, no snot-nosed little kids allowed.
No snot-nosed diapered pooped kid on, for sure.
I wonder if the dogs like that marshmallow event, so then they can go around the next day and lick up all those marshmallows.
Exactly. You just send a bunch of dogs out there.
That might take care of it.
That would take. So again, as much as I love Ocean Beach for its character, I'm gonna vote yay, and we'll have one vote yay and one vote nay on this. So I am going to, and bear with me here because I know reading on radio is, but I think this is important because July is a special day. There was never in the history of mankind did July 4th exist. And I always find it funny or amusing when people say we want to be more like Europe, which Europe is cool. I've been there. I think it's great stuff. In
More
Europe.
Vacations like Europe has. That would be nice.
But they had kings and queens and monarchs and dictators and world wars and all kinds of bad things. And that's what we want to emulate. Where here, these guys, now again, I understand we're 250 years later and times have changed. I totally get it, and I'm all for it. I understand it. But the idea that these guys came up with, that the people were going to be in charge. And I understand white male were in charge at the time.
At the time.
Thank
I
God
get it. It's expanded.
It's expanded. Thank God for that. But the idea that the people would be in charge is a monumental shift.
It was revolutionary.
Revolutionary.
And it's easy for people growing up today to just take what we have for granted and not realize that, the greatness that we have in this country is not an accident. It's the result of a really well-designed government. With all the flaws we have, it's still a lot better than what things used to be, and it's a lot better than what you see in most parts of the world. We have transparency of government compared to most of the rest of the world. You see scandals in the media, and you think, oh, that's terrible, our country's terrible, and think, no, wait, at least these people got caught. Right. Whereas in many other countries, the people who are committing all kinds of crimes never get caught. Maybe it's because they're the nephew of the king or the local strongman, etc.
And we have to be diligent to preserve those for future generations. Mm-hmm. And I do worry, and every new generation worries about how it's going to proceed, that we are allowing ourselves to be governed by the politician versus them we need to tell them, not them to tell us the direction of which we take. So I will read a little bit more that where I left off, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall most likely to affect their safety, happiness, prudence. Indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. So we agree with that. Yeah. We're not trying to overthrow anything. We're just trying to make it better.
Right. And for those who are just tuning in, we're reading from the Declaration of Independence, in case you didn't recognize that, in case you forgot that from school long ago.
So again, if you read it, and what were their complaints against the King of England? And let me read. This is where I do have a lot of concerns as we move forward in our path. This was their complaint. The King of England has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. And we have to be careful that the government doesn't dictate our every move and allow it to take over what we do and how we think and what we say and all the political correctness and things like that. Mm-hmm. So again, my rant for the day, I appreciate everybody indulging me on that, but I think it's very important that we become informed and not just take for granted the amazing country, the amazing impact that our charitable works have had around the world for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. No other country gives more to the world than this country in terms of time, energy, and dollars.
That's right. Our troops, our Navy, always out there keeping the shipping lanes safe. All these things that people never really think about that we're doing every day. We are doing a lot to help the whole world.
So I say thank God for our troops. God bless them. Keep them safe. I know they do an amazing job, and they work so hard and so dedicated to preserving the peace, and I give them every ounce of blessing that we can possibly give them. Mm-hmm. So on that note, what do you like? You're going to take it easy tomorrow. Is that
right.
My understanding?
I'm going to take it easy.
But you're going to get some phone calls to sign up for your workshop.
Yeah, people can call me anytime. Toll-free number 866.
While you're sipping a margarita
That's
tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, before I give the number, this is my reverse mortgage seminar. It's for financial advisors, attorneys, realtors. Realtors love this when they learn about the purchase HECM, buy a home with no monthly payments, guaranteed no matter what. Very easy to qualify for. So anyone who wants to be a better advisor to their baby boomer and senior clients, just give me a call. I'll reserve your seat for the Wednesday, July 23rd workshop.
And where is it being held?
At our corporate headquarters, which happens to be right here in San Diego in Mission Valley. This is our national headquarters for the whole company. And the toll-free number, this is my direct line, 866-223-7174.
We have 1 minute. Bruce McPherson, thank you for coming in today. It's been a pleasure. I wish you the happiest of 4th of Julys, and be safe out there. And maybe you and I will go down and have a marshmallow fight in your backyard.
There we go.
Let's do it in your backyard. Yeah. We'll keep it very
Well, and Ron, thank you for everything you do. You're one of the smart, ethical, helpful realtors out there.
Well,
you
thank
really
you.
help people make good decisions.
Thank you. And you know what? For everybody out there, call mom and dad, call grandma and grandpa tomorrow, and see how they're doing. And be an advocate for your folks.
Call your parents.
Call your parents.
Call your
and
grandparents.
Tell them you love them, and thank them for giving you the United States of America. God bless everybody. Have a fabulous 4th of July.